how I normally scream all the time down a trail.
So, Paul,
Okay.
what's going on this episode?
Hey,
of Camber Live?
why don't we get started, shall we? Okay, so
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of an intro. So, hello, mountain bike punters and fans of the Off Camber Live show. Welcome to yet another show. Did you know that there are already 12 other episodes of this show, all produced and created by a group of mountain bike YouTubers? Crazy. If you check in the description to this video, you can find a link to the iTunes store and you can download all past 12 episodes. Note how I'm not actually saying the amount of videos that we're on, because, I mean, it was Friday the 13th the other day. Maybe we're going to be tempting some bad luck. So, fingers crossed. So each week the show is hosted by a different YouTuber, and the speakers may change, but the topic is always about our favourite sport, mountain biking. My name is Paul the Punter, and welcome to my channel. I put out a whole range of cycling type videos, from mountain bike to road cycling to dirt jumping as well. So if you enjoy two wheels and making some weird noises while riding them, give me a subscribe. Thank you, that was good. Today we are going to delve into some mountain bike history. No gear chat at all. Crazy, I know, given that we're mountain bikers. But we're going to look into the past with myself and the guests here today and look back on some huge moments that happened in the world of bikes that you might know, but you might not. So we want to hear from you too. See that chat box? Right, wait, hold on. It's that side. That side? It's this side, isn't it? Okay. See that chat box right there? Get involved. I want to hear what your favorite moments are in mountain biking. And every once in a while, we'll take a break. We'll have a look. Check in on the comments and see what people are saying. Let's just see who we've got here. The Loam Ranger is on this show. Calvin Lee, hello. Mountain Bike at the Bikes, what's going on? Chase McMillan, hello to you. Cobra Kyle, he's a regular. What's up, dude, yourself? Burning Rubber, hello. And there's JF Rise as well, another YouTuber. Go and check out his channel there. Okay, so who do we have here? The first gentleman needs little introduction, but perhaps we'll use the theme of this show and let you know that maybe some things you don't know about him. He qualified in a top 25 position at the Wyndham World Cup in 2015. He's produced 129 high-quality videos, riding anything from rocker BMX bikes to huge tandems. And his middle initial is not K. Please welcome Phil K. Mex, Skills with Phils, everyone.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey.
How's everyone doing out there?
We've had the first blooper already. I had this. Hold on. Oh no, hold on. Yeah, okay. Look at this. I was like going to surprise everyone. I have a little studio app on my phone, but it's just decided to stop working. So we're going to keep going.
That's my... Haley just checked in. That's my girlfriend.
Hi,
That's
Haley.
all right. Okay, maybe we can edit this one in. And Skills with Phil. Thank you. Yes, absolutely fantastic. Welcome, Phil. Welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Seamless. We'll cut that bit out. So, on to the next guest. After his POV of a Whistler Trail Blue Velvet exploded and has received almost 2 million views, perhaps we should pronounce him the new sheriff of the bike park, maybe. With exceptional editing skills, my next guest is a purveyor of high-quality chest cams and enjoying time aboard his extraordinarily large pole. He is the one and only, the Loam Ranger.
Wow, that was very generous. Wow, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Ryan. Welcome. And finally, he's getting involved with this YouTuber's podcast, but he doesn't have his own channel. Who the hell is this guy? He is, in fact, one of Action Sport's most in-demand videographers. Having produced his very own movie called Builder, he has since become one of the masterminds behind the insanely popular Dream Ride series. And his client list is as long as the time it takes to find out just what happened to that DVO fork, Brian. It's Scott Secco, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. Hello, Scott.
Great intro.
Yeah, okay. So we've got a few more people in now. Haley, is that your girlfriend, Phil?
It is.
Nice. No front brakes. What's going on? Bobcat. Everyone is here. Okay, so we're going to start off with some facts. So,
Hey, Paul, can I interrupt you for a quick second? Just about
please.
Technical. Put your microphone to the side and speak past it.
How about that?
Like and then because like when you peas like they're like popping the microphone.
Your peas are popping.
Pop that. Is that a little bit better there?
Sounds better.
Yeah. You're
Go
good.
like that. I'm too excited. I'm quite a lot of that. Probably explain why. I could also just turn myself down a touch to compensate. So, guys, here's my fact about in mountain bike history that you might not be aware of. Did you know that Sam Hill has won a free ride contest?
I did not know that. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean by free ride contest?
So
That's very
think
open-ended.
slope. Yeah, think slope style before it was slope style. Like take your minds back to 2003. Like New World Disorder was only just kicking off, the well-known movie series. Bikes were insane. We had super monster tees. It was all about how much suspension can you get. And we also had on the other side of the planet in Australia a free ride contest. Now I've got to read really carefully how you actually pronounce this name. Jindabyne is where it was. It was called Red Bull Ride. So what I'm actually going to do here, hopefully with the wonders of technology, is pop on.
Sponsored by Red. It was the Red Bull Ride.
It was the Red Bull Ride. Okay, so if we go to Google Hangouts, and I can share my screen, and boom.
So what kind of
there we
bikes?
go. So here we go. So if you look now at my screen here, this is Sam Hill winning a free ride contest back in 2003, which is pretty crazy. I'll go full screen on this. So there he is dropping in. Like, check out that no footer. You'll notice he's on intense as well. Yeah, like classic. So he was 18 years old in this, and he actually qualified. He only so they had 27 people enter, and then the top 10 of those got taken through, and he only just scraped it in. Check out that feature. So that there, Pete was even being in this contest. And Steve actually tore his knee open on that. And now I'm pretty sure he does a sweet trick off this last jump. Yeah, check it out. The no first E's. And then they came up, did a little on-off. They said it was really windy here. And now check out, I think there's actually a high jump coming up just at the end of this clip. Can you... This is the Enduro World Series champion.
What year is this?
Yeah, 2003. And they also had one of these in 2002. And
What the?
Whoa!
Oh yeah.
Whoa!
What?
This is just stuff you don't. Oh.
Quick, Paul, talk again.
You don't. Oh, I'm talking. He's back on his bike. Maybe I could do some Claudio type commentary. Right, here it is. This is what I've been waiting for. Check out this hit. The high jump over the last. And that was the end. And that was the winning run. So they had they had a few of these. So I'm not
Epic.
too sure.
And he still hasn't grown into his eyebrows yet.
Ew.
Still hasn't grown into his eyebrows. No. So yeah, that was a pretty epic. So I did manage to dig up some facts from the original article. So there were 10. He actually won $50,000 billion.
50,000?
15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not quite.
Still.
I mean, there was
Still
more
good.
mountain biking there.
That's still better than most current competitions.
Yeah. What does Joyride get now? It's like 25. Is it Secco? You might know this. 25 grand.
That sounds
place?
right.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. And in third place, Nathan Rennie, 22 years old.
Wow.
So there's some of the other people that competed. So Steve Pete, as I said, he gashed his knee really bad on they called it the sled saw. You know, that thing where they kind of jumped on and it slid on rails. That was called the sled saw. And Pete, ripped his knee open. Cedric Gracia was the highest placed non-Australian. He finished in 7th. And he didn't have many practice runs because they lost his luggage. Which, for those avid fans among you, will know that that's just a theme of Cedric's. he loses luggage. I can't remember what year, but Fort William, he rode in jeans because he didn't have any. He lost his bag and he didn't have any race kit. I can't remember. I think that was maybe 2002 when Kavoric run. Maybe. Who knows? If anyone knows, let me know in the chat. So who else was there? Tyler Klassen was there. Kyle Strait competed in this as well. So I imagine he was probably about 17, as well. Dave Watson, who's the legendary guy that jumped over the Tour de France, that footage. And he actually then went on to start Sombrio Clothing.
Oh.
So that's the guy. The guy that jumped the Tour de France is the same guy that started Sombrio Clothing.
How old was Kyle when he did his first Rampage? Was it like 15?
Oh,
13.
He was 13?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty sure.
And then he won it when he was 17?
Yeah.
That's when he won it the first time, right? Yeah.
Jeez.
Excuse me. This is chat show, so you've got to have a cup of tea. So what else have we got? Yeah, so that was a 14-meter step down that Hill did that legendary no-footer off. And Rennie was actually in between sponsors. He didn't have a sponsor when he did this event. He'd finished on Yeti, and this was before, I guess, the Santa Cruz Syndicate team had started. So he was actually he was unsponsored, which is pretty crazy because this was like during the peak of his career as well. And also, so I think in 1 year, maybe it was the year before when it was in 2002, Wade Simmons competed in this event, but everyone kept getting punches. Oh, actually, Secco, Vanderham was 18 years old in this contest. He was in it. He competed.
Epic.
Yeah, this is a long time ago.
It's a little baby. Yeah, now he's got a kid.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so apparently they got so many punctures during this contest that they were allowed, if they got a puncture, they were allowed to go back up to the top and fix and just get a rerun until they could get all the way down. But apparently it happened so often that Wade just kind of gave up and just rode the course with a flat tire, half the course or something.
What a boss.
Which, yeah, Godfather. So that's pretty gnarly. And my final fact that came, we did an interview with Super T Tyler Klassen on Pink Bike, and he told us afterwards that he was as I said, he was at this contest, but it was a Red Bull sponsored contest, and they didn't allow any water to be on site.
No.
Yeah, I see the group expression there. Yeah, so they didn't allow any. Yeah, they didn't allow. All they were allowed to drink was Red Bull. So and he just said it was carnage because it was dusty. Everyone was super thirsty, dehydrated, but also hyped up on all this caffeine and sugar. And he said it was just absolute chaos. Just everyone was going crazy and flipping out at everyone, which is completely understandable. But yeah, can you imagine that happening nowadays? Can you imagine going to Red Bull Rampage and it's no water, guys. Red Bull only, please. We're paying for this.
Even for building the jumps too.
Yeah, you got to spray water all on the jumps.
That's awesome.
So
that reminds me of Psychosis, a race that was held with all the biggest names like Sam Hill and Steve Smith and all those guys, and it was in Golden, BC, which is interior BC. And I find there's not there's some of the best riding in the world out there, but you never see events happen out there. And I actually didn't even know it had happened. It was last one was 2007, I think. And it happened right underneath my nose. So there was this huge Red Bull event with these massive stars of downhill on the most gnarly track you could ever think of. And I had no idea. And I just found out last year that this whole thing happened. So that's a little bit maddening, but pretty cool. I don't know. We got to get him to get out there again because the terrain out there is just unheard of. It's wild. Have any of you guys ridden interior or eastern BC?
Yeah, I went to Golden BC, Kicking Horse.
Yeah, that's the same spot. It's right across the road, basically.
Yeah, so some of the locals were telling me that, if you turn around and look through the parking lot, that mountain that we see was Psychosis, and I hadn't heard of it at the time either.
It's crazy how under the radar it was for such a technically big event, Red Bull event, right?
I guess social media wasn't that around at that time.
No, not really.
It's that was still when people had MySpace.
Yeah. How long? When was the last time you were there? When was the last time you were at in Golden, Phil?
I think that was 2016.
Oh, okay.
It was either 2016 or 2015. No, it was 16.
Do you have any videos from that?
No, I wasn't really filming like that. So I was on a road trip, and I for like at that time I wasn't really like filming my travels. I like retrospect, I kind of like regret that, but
Just
that
have to
place
come
was
back.
yeah. That like I have to say, Kicking Horse was probably one of the coolest places I've ridden.
Yeah, like like the bike park.
The bike park was cool. The trails there were cool, and it was
Yeah.
the most photogenic place I've ever been.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome there. And like everything's like pretty high altitude. Like you're right up into the Alpine like pretty quickly. Like even the bike park, there's basically one lift that takes you from the very bottom to the very top where there's like scree like right there basically. Just one lift. And it's huge.
The
Are you
crazy,
allowed to ride down the scree?
Yeah, you can hike up to like there's like T1, T2, T3, like all these different peaks and then go down from there. So you take this huge gondola. I won't say gondola because everybody rips me up about that. Gondola. And you should see the comment section on some of my videos. They just eviscerate me. But you can just like hike a bike from the gondola up to the gondola up to the top even further and go from there.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Because there's
All right,
there's
anyway,
the
getting
scree
off topic.
slope in there's the scree slope in Whistler, like off the top of near the top of Peak Chair. And I think there's like the legend that Richie Schley was the first person to ride it or something. But if you go and ride it now, they'll just like take your pass off you then and there. Yeah,
I don't doubt it.
cool. So that's I think you can find that trail, Psychosis. It's called. Is it Double Dog? Is that what it's called?
I can't remember. It's something like that.
I think that's
something dog.
yeah.
Everything's something dog.
Yeah, yeah, everything's
Look
something.
it up.
If you check out the Matt Dennison, whenever he went, I can't remember what the video is called, but he said it's in there, like one of IFHT's like riding vlogs. It's in there somewhere. Cool. Hey, Secco,
Oh,
hit us with some knowledge.
what do you want to know?
Well, I mean, you've obviously been involved with some pretty amazing pieces of video. Is there anything about Dream Ride that you can tell these guys?
Well, there is actually going back to the central BC region. The last time I was in Golden, I was actually filming with Mike Hopkins, who's the athlete in Dream Ride, and I actually managed to get strep throat while we were doing like a 3-day bike packing traverse thing. So I'm just like, we started, I had a bit of a sore throat and then just got progressively worse. And we're like on the top of a mountain, waking up at 5 a.m. to shoot sunrise. And I'm just like, Hopkins, I think I need to go to the hospital.
Oh.
Just like dying. And he knew something was wrong because I like wasn't hungry. And I'm just like always super hangry if I, so like it was a like double compounded problem because I like couldn't eat because everything hurt to swallow. And then I was like, pissed off because I was hungry and then also just dying. So anyways, fun memories. But yeah, so Dream Ride. We just finished shooting part 3 in in early March. So we went to New Zealand for 6 weeks. So that was super cool. And checked out some pretty insane places. So I'm stoked for everyone to see the video.
How long does one of those videos take to produce?
They're big. So normally Hopkins kind of does a lot of the location scouting, so it'll be like a month or 2 of research and planning, and then we'll shoot for probably about 6 weeks. Like the first one was the shortest. We just shot for 3.5 weeks for that one, and then the second one we did a month in Hawaii and then 2 weeks of like snow stuff, and then the last one we just did 6 weeks New Zealand. So yeah, they're pretty big undertakings because you're like 6 weeks of shooting for a 5-minute video. And
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it pays off, but it's like they take a long time because like you can just shoot for the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of the day if you're like going for sunrise or sunset, or other locations you can shoot all day if it's cloudy, if you're in the woods or whatever. But we're pretty particular, especially because it's like the last 2 we wanted to keep that standard. So hopefully it lives up.
Oh, I'm sure it will. So when you're talking about, I hope it pays off, what does that mean for you? What's your end result that you want out of this?
I mean, I just want to make something that I can be proud of and that people are entertained by and hopefully inspired by. I mean, like if you watch a video of mine and you're stoked to go ride, then that's like the best compliment you can get. It's like, you're like, oh man, I want to go ride my bike. So that's the best if you hear that.
Yeah. So something like, it's a little bit more conceptual though, right? Like for something like that, what is that like when you're like, because you need support from companies or from Pink Bike or whatever, right? So how is it more difficult to like pitch to people when it's more less just like dude on bike and more I have this crazy idea?
For sure, yeah. I mean, like the first one was I don't know if it was a risk because I mean Hopkins is obviously super established as a great athlete, and then I mean we've done a few videos before that did pretty well, but they're definitely pretty expensive projects, and so yeah, like a brand has to have a lot of trust in us. So Diamondback was nice enough that they really trusted us, and we showed them our pitch, which was basically we wanted to do the Dr. Seuss poem, the Places You'll Go, if you know that story.
Yeah.
So we wanted to use that as the narration originally, but it was way too expensive to license. So we're like, okay, well, let's just write our own The Places You'll Go, but it won't be exactly the same. So that was kind of like the original concept, I guess, was Dr. Seuss meets mountain biking. So they were into the idea and they trusted us. And it was kind of like everything goes back to the first one, because if that didn't do well, then I don't think there'd be the support for the last two in the trilogy, and then also like the Skidsville project we did, and they've been really good about giving us a lot of creative trust and freedom with those videos. And like at this point, it's basically up to Hopkins for approval. So it's basically like if he's happy with it, they generally will just sign off. And it's pretty cool to see a brand that really trusts us to deliver something that they'll be proud of. And it's also nice because they're not super product centric videos. Like you might get one shot where you can see what bike he's riding, or maybe not. Maybe it'll just all be wide scenic shots. But I mean, like hopefully it brings brand awareness and people associate Diamondback with a cool video, and the brand becomes cooler by extension.
Yeah, they clearly like I'm not obviously sponsored by them or anything, but they clearly like have a pretty good head on their shoulders as far as like marketing goes. Like I don't know, do you know like Seth's Bike Hacks, the channel on YouTube? Yeah, I mean they kind of connected with him long ago, and just started sponsoring with bikes, and then eventually monetarily and things, back when he had much less subscribers. And I think they were the first company to do that, to actually realize the potential of like alternative marketing almost, right? So it's cool that they're supporting that as well.
Well, you see, like that's happening now. Like Trek is sponsoring Matt Dennison and Jason. So it's like big brands are realizing that the traditional sponsor, the best athlete, isn't necessarily always the best way of reaching the average consumer. Because I mean, obviously, I hope people like Seminuk or Zinc are always getting supported, because we need the top guys who are pushing the limit and doing stuff that no one else can do. But it's also nice when people that are a bit more relatable and doing more attainable stuff are getting support too, because it's like, I'm never going to backflip an 80-foot drop like Zinc, but I mean, I'm going to go ride my bike in the woods and have fun. And that's something that everyone can relate to.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty cool. And it's interesting. It's not about kind of, for years, you know, mountain bikers, you get kind of support based on the merits of your riding. But now it's like the tide is turning in terms of what are you influencing? So like I know Matt and Jason, they get messages all the time like, oh hey, like when they had GT bikes, they were getting messages all the time saying, hey, I just went and bought this bike because of you. Yeah. Like that's pretty powerful to then turn around and be like, hey everyone, look at what we can do. So yeah, it's pretty smart of Trek to get involved with those guys for sure.
Hey Scott, out of curiosity, since you have some experience with that, I know it's like you obviously use a lot of pretty popular songs in your videos. How much does a license on one of those cost?
It really depends. The most I've spent for a song was $3,000. So that was for a song for my movie Builder. And then typically I try and kind of keep it around like the $400 mark, and I'll use sites like the Music Bed or Marmoset Music or licensing options like that. And then basically it really depends on the time frame. The best case option will be that I have like a month to do the edit, and I can just email the band or record label and negotiate with them directly. So for some, it depends on the video, but some stuff I'll just email the band and negotiate with them. But typically I would say about $400 would be kind of the goal.
Fair enough. Nice. Yeah. I've always wondered, so thanks for answering.
Yeah, myself as well. And the music on Builder was just like, perfect, by the way.
Thanks. Well, that was tough because we had $10,000 for the whole soundtrack, so that sounds like a lot of money, but man, that goes fast. Like that's nothing. I was like, man, like please, like just I'm begging you, can we use your song for dirt cheap?
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate the bands let me use their music for cheap.
That's great.
Yeah.
So one of my going back to kind of like mountain bike history, I think as far as like one of the there's two big things for me, and I was talking to these guys earlier about this. I kind of have two sort of time zones where I was really into biking, and there's sort of these things in between where I just kind of drifted out of it. But like mid to late 90s, I was just like 100% mountain biking. That's all I thought about. This is mountain bike magazines everywhere. And during that time period, it was really like Volvo. There was like the Volvo Cannondale team, like that team, and the people on that team. They kind of got me into biking, and a big reason why is because they had crazy people on their team, and that wasn't really, as far as I saw it, that wasn't really done before that. It was almost like road bikers that like popped on a mountain bike helmet and started mountain biking. But then all of a sudden you had like off the wall characters like Missy on the downhill side, or even like Tinker Juarez. I never know how to say his last name, on the XC side of things. And they're all like super amazing characters. And then they're kicking butt on the race circuit at the same time. And then Cannondale themselves were putting out all these crazy designs for bikes and doing all these wild things. And I'm like, this is cool. Like, I feel like I want to be a part of this. And it was like that moment in time with that team that like totally got me super psyched into mountain biking. And I bought, like, my first real bike was a Cannondale F700 Olympic edition. And it was an Allison Sider bike. And so there wasn't really like female specific bikes back then, but it was like her team edition bike. So it was like red to white to red and like the Canada colors. And, you know, I was in like grade 7. So like, I was like super patriotic at the time and stuff. So went out, spent every dime I had on that incredible bike with like 60 millimeters of head shock suspension on it. And it was sweet. I turned it into like 3 different types of bikes over the years. At one point it was like a trials bike. Another point, I tried to use it for downhill, and that didn't go very well. I have like a little hole in my leg from that. And, but yeah, it was sweet. So like, so many memories from that portion of time, and that team and that bike, like it all just kind of fit together. And I feel like a lot of people got into it right around that time, people my age, and they saw all these different types of people in it. And I felt, yeah, it was just a really cool point in time to be a mountain biker, I think. Yeah. Lots going
Cannondale on. Were weird, like, so I'm just going to share on my screen here. Check out this monstrosity that they came up with. So this is Mike Levy, who's a Pink Bike editor, and we've got on the Pink Bike channel, we've got like some videos about these weird ass bikes from Cannondale. It's like going to be a must watch. But look at this thing. I mean, it looks like there's like, are they trolley wheels on the front? Like,
yeah, how do you steer?
Dude, rollerblade wheels.
I guess you just lean.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe it's I think Levy's quote there is, when you can't decide if you want to go rollerblading, do a triathlon, or just be a kook in general. I think that's pretty apt. But it must have been made for one person, because look, you can't like adjust the saddle or anything.
No.
So it must have just been made for like a very long-legged person.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have made some very weird bikes, and I guess that, as you say, it kind of ties in with their team selection. Like they had just like this huge mix, like Gracier, like famously wearing that skin suit, the muscle skin suit.
Yeah.
I'll try and find a picture of that later in a minute. But
yeah, they weren't afraid to get weird, for sure.
No. Cool. Hey, Phil.
All right,
hit me with some history, bro.
Some of you guys might know this, but actually, I need to be fact-checked on this, because I wasn't able to find a reliable source, but I believe Mitch Ripolato was the first person to race a 29er in a World Cup race.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Is that Peter Maritzburg?
Yeah.
No. Phil, that was a World Champs.
Okay. I usually lob them. Yeah, that's right.
It's pretty much the same thing, though. Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. And not only that, but he qualified second.
Oh.
Or he, like, it's, I guess, time training for World Champs. So he was the first person to bring 29ers to the World Cup scene.
That is completely true. Can you remember what happened in the race?
I believe he crashed in, like, the first turn.
Yeah.
That's because 29ers suck, man. Obviously.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Well, and the last person to win a World Cup race on a 26er was Josh Bryceland. And so he was the last one to run on a 26er, and that is a perfect segue into my other like big memory as far as racing goes. Look at me go with the segue.
You're king of the segue, Ryan. It's incredible. Like seamless, absolutely seamless.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna try and pull up a screenshot here and let me know if this is working or not. And
I can fill the void by doing some shout outs from the chat here. Man Bike Geek, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for joining along. Joe from Trail Features, another YouTuber, just like Mountain Bike Geek. Go and check out their channel. Feel free to post links to your channels, guys. I've made you moderators, so you can pop links in there. Calvin Lee, Canada. Yep, it's the best country in the world. Twitchy Nick, evening. A little late to the party, but there's still plenty of time left to enjoy. So that should have filled the void just enough time.
I think I've got it pulled up. So this was 2014 in Half Yell, and this is for the World Championships. And Josh Bryceland kind of came out of nowhere and had this insane burner of a season, like just destroying. And he was very Missy Giove-esque with like, you know, the crazy hair and the crazy attitude and like all that kind of stuff. And it was amazing watching this guy do his thing. And he like had this insane focus that year, and it was wild. And then it came down to the world champs, and G Atherton is on the podium. So now you have two dudes that were kind of rivals from what I heard to begin with, just personally. And then G is like the complete opposite. Like he's really like clean cut dude. And then Bryson's total opposite. So G's on the podium, Rat Boy's coming down, and he is like so fired up. Like you could see every single move of his body. Like he is just like freaking out and having the best time of his life. And then so much so that he sends it so friggin' far off of this last sort of like bridge jump type thing. I'll share it. Can you guys see that? And he lands past this massive wooden landing, and you can see his ankle snapping right there in that photo. And that's just like some like potato cam shot. Yeah, he landed so hard. I don't know how his hands stayed on the bars. So he lands, and we're talking like he's within like a second or so of G. And so everyone's like edge of their seats, and he smashes his ankle and he tries to continue on the race. And he goes through the finish line, but like he tries to take a pedal and only then realizes that his foot is not attached to his body anymore, and lifts his leg back up and just basically rides on one pedal right through and barely misses the championship. He got second still, even though he took his foot off, you know, a few hundred feet before the finish line. I couldn't believe that whole race. Like even the racing that happened before that, it was nuts. And like I was just like yelling the whole time watching that race. It was crazy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a legendary. That was the one where Sam Hill also.
I was
Dave
just
Trumbull
about to bring that up.
Yeah. Go on. You take it away, Phil.
Well, so Sam Hill he'd been kind of MIA for a while, if I remember correct. Like up in and all of a sudden that race, he just was out of nowhere. He was up by like 3 or 4 seconds at a lot of the splits, and he's coming into the last rock garden, and all of a sudden like he just tomahawked through the rock garden. I'm not sure if you could see that on the live stream.
Oh, there's the photo. I've seen the photo. It's insane.
Yeah, that was I think that article got viewed more times than like every piece of content from the World Champs. But it was on the live stream. Yeah, he literally just comes around the corner and you can see it all happen. Like it's brutal, like a real scorpion. Like
wow,
horrible.
And somehow I don't remember that. I don't know how that works.
No, it wasn't like because he was so like he was up. I think he would if he'd have finished. If everyone had finished, I think he would have been the fastest on that day. He was like obliterating everyone because he just, you're quite right, Phil. He was like off the radar completely.
Well, didn't he win 2 World Cups that year, or was it the year before?
Yeah, no, you're completely right. He won. He just like came back and like loved that bike all of a sudden, and won Mont Saint Anne, and then he won Meribel because that was like the Sam Hill track. But yeah. It was, and then he was just flying for world champs, and he was up so much. You can still go and see that run. It's like he's up by so much.
I had to watch that like a few weeks ago. That I think that World Championships may have been one of the best World Championships I can remember.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely without question. I also was you've got me thinking. I've been trying to find it feverishly, but I don't think I'm gonna have any luck. There was that same world champs that Mitch crashed in the first corner. That was also the same year that Stevie Smith, the Da Vinci Spartan, they like made it into it was like 650B short travel. They made it into a downhill bike for him for that one. And then he also crashed on the first corner of that same race. But then what he did at the bottom was he did like a suicide off the step down. I'm pretty sure he did a knack. He might have done like a no foot can as well. Like yeah. I think you're right. I think there was no foot can, but it was just amazing because like he still had a round to go of the World Cup when he had that epic battle with G Atherton in 2013, and he was just like, oh yeah, suicide, yeah, no worries. And there's a legendary one.
You know what else happened at that race?
What's that?
Richie Rude earned his gold medal in the World Championships. So the Enduro World Champion is also a
Junior
downhill.
World, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good call.
I can't remember if he was on a SB66 for that race. I think Jared Graves may have been, though.
Yeah, Graves was. Yeah, and he was like, I would race my downhill bike. I've just been riding my enduro bike more. That's why I'm using this. So I'm eating more Haribo. Sorry if that kind of sounds horrible.
None of us will talk, so it'll just be your face when you chew.
Yeah. But that was that Jared finished third in that race.
Yeah.
And Mick Hanna. Okay, right. I've got another nerd fact. Just segueing into them all. The that race, Mick Hanna finished second again, and I'm pretty sure he's told me that he's also had like a youth world BMX race championship silver medal, and that was decided by a photo finish, and he lost it by a tire. Like that was the deal. And if you add up, he's had like four. If you add up the gap that he's lost by, it's under a second or something over the five things.
Always a bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Shoot.
Scott Secco, you're a big fan of Life Cycles.
I sure am.
The well-known
As you should be.
movie. Yeah, it's directed more than directed by Ryan Gibb. Produced,
And Ryan Gibb and Derek Frankowski.
Yeah, and so you worked with Ryan on the first Dream Ride, right?
I did, yeah. That was quite a treat. So I was in, I guess, my second or third year of university. So I took like two and a half weeks off school, and it was the end of term. So I had to like feverishly write all my like final essays while Gibbs driving us in a minivan through Utah and the U.S.
Wow.
And that was quite a trip. But yeah, it was sweet. Gibbs is one of my very good friends, and it was just awesome hanging out with him. And I first made his acquaintance just like the stuff they were putting on the Life Cycles website before the trailer came out. I was just really blown away by that. And there was a story in Dirt Magazine, which must have been like 2008 or 2009, like way before the movie came out because it took them so long. And I was so impressed. I sent an email to them, and they were actually nice enough that they got back to me. So I was like super fired up. They replied, and then we had a couple emails back and forth, just me being super grom, asking them questions. And then they ended up inviting me to the Whistler premiere, which was like before the actual premiere. It was like super secret premiere. So I was just like floored. And I went with Aaron LaRock, who is one of my good filmer buddies as well. So we were just like fully just face melting. Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Crazy, like crazy what happens when you ask, right? Like totally, just to ask. Never anything wrong with that.
Yeah. People are so nice. Yeah. So that was really cool. Like, they say don't meet your heroes, but like sometimes your heroes are super sweet, so you should meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those guys were cool. But I was actually one more history thing. So actually what got me into mountain biking originally was New World Disorder 3, because I would like bike around the neighborhood a bit, but my friend's brother got Disorder 3 on VHS, and he was watching it or put it on for us, and Wade Simmons jumping over a monster truck, that just blew my mind. That was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I was like, okay, this sport's really cool. Like I'm interested now. And that was just the thing that really got me into it.
Yeah,
that
is
was the tipping point.
Legendary moment. I am pretty sure that it's not going to be too hard to Okay, there we go. We're gonna we're gonna the pictures from Dirt Magazine, but I'm sure we'll get away with it. So let me just get. Do you know where this is, Scott?
The life cycle stuff or Disorder 3?
No, the legendary road gap.
Yeah, that one. That's
one right
California.
there. Is it?
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was Kamloops.
No, it's
But-
California. That's actually a step up. So people hit that on I think dirt bikes, and it's a step up, but
No.
backwards. Yeah.
I also remember someone saying that was Kamloops as well.
No, it's California.
Huh.
Yeah.
No way.
That's
And there was
crazy.
someone else there that day.
Yeah,
Do you know
Bender
who else?
hit it as well, but he did not fare quite as well.
No, he did not.
Yeah, in classic Bender fashion. Just full send.
Yeah.
It was actually that kind of stuff in Rampage that like got me, because I was riding BMX at the time. I was at Camp Woodward when I like saw them like playing like Rampage and that kind of stuff on a TV screen in like the canteen, and I had no idea that people were doing that kind of stuff on mountain bikes, and that's what got me hooked.
No
Yeah.
way.
I was
So,
gonna
wait,
say. Oh,
you were at X Games.
No. Did I say X Games?
Oh, maybe I misheard. I thought it sounded
I'm-
like you were at.
I was at Camp Woodward, the canteen.
Oh, Campbell. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. What
You know.
were you doing there? Were you a coach?
No,
Or just
I
being
was like 13 years old at the time.
Yeah, that's how old coaches are nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't that good. I was just a slimy BMXer.
Who else was there at Camp Woodward when you were there?
So for pros, you had it's crazy because they all came in. Kevin Robinson, yeah, like Kevin Robinson. Actually, he just passed away pretty recently.
Like within a few months, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was like the first pro I had a big interaction with, and I remember like watching him like learning how to do the double flares before he landed them in the X Games.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
And he was the first to do that.
Yeah, and so every week they would do like this pro vert jam, and every week he would try to land another one, and like every week he came so close but like looped out or something. But I just remember I was riding my bike and I got a flat right in front of him, and like without thinking he just went over to his car and grabbed a tube out of the trunk and just handed it to me, like no questions asked. And I was
that's
like,
sick.
That's so cool. I've actually, so he was, so I grew up watching like Gravity Games and X Games and stuff on we had one channel in the UK called Extreme, and this is Kevin
With Max.
Robinson, for those that don't know. Thank you Vital BMX for the hassle-free sharing. But I guess if we're reacting to this is repurposing of content, so I think we should be okay. But Kevin Robinson was the first person to land a no-handed flare in contests.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the first. That was back when like Dave Mirra did back-to-back flares, and it was like the biggest thing. And now like 14-year-olds do it in in a local skate park. I remember watching that, like how it, like everyone was just like, "Oh my god, he's done 2 in a row! What? This is insane! I can't believe it!" But yeah, and Kevin Robinson was the first no-handed. He's also I think he's one of the godfathers of the big air, like the X Game big
Mega
air.
ramp.
Mega ramp. That's it. Yeah.
I just remembered someone else who was at Camp Woodward. He was only there for a few days, but Scotty Kramer.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, he was only 16 or so at the time, and like, holy crap, could he ride? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing,
I'm pretty sure. Oh, sorry.
no, go on.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure he was the first person to land a tailwhip backflip.
Maybe he was the first tailwhip front flip, maybe.
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure maybe it was just like the first in the UK, because there was this magazine Ride UK BMX. I think it's just a website now, but yeah, it was. I remember it was like at the Birmingham bike show, and like they wrote it out. Like they had the sequence shot, but they also had like this huge, like it must have been about that long, just describing every singing up to the moment where he did a tailwhip backflip in the show. And I could have sworn maybe it wasn't the first ever landed, but maybe it was probably the first in the UK for sure.
Well, it doesn't mean much if it's first in the UK. You guys are just starting to do like wheelies and stuff over there. So.
Yeah, all the BMXs over in the UK are just talking about YouTube beef. That's all that is nowadays. Yeah.
Parker mentioned that I think Scotty was the first one to do a front flip tail whip. There was a period of time I just remember like Scotty putting out all these edits of like him doing all these weird front flip variations. Like I think he was the first person to do a so he like went up on a quarter pipe, landed fakie, and went into the next quarter pipe or side of the half pipe backwards and did a front flip out of that. And I think he was the first person ever to do that.
God, that's so gnarly.
Like now it's like, okay, that's pretty cool, but back then it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So question for all you guys, not just the filmmaker. I mean, I guess we're all technically filmmakers, but anyways, what's
video maker?
Yeah, video maker. Yeah, exactly. We make live streams. So what's each one of your which mountain bike film was the most influential for you? I think one of you, like Scott, you already answered. I think, right? So with I guess the other two guys, what was it for you? For me, it was Rome. That was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Specifically the shot. I can't remember if it was him or his brother, but Bear Claw or the Claw, they had a cable cam set up and he went in front of the camera and then he went up and then he did like a big like Indian air, I think. Yeah. And it looked like a video game. And I was just like eyes bugging out of my head. I'm like, how did they do that? How did they do that? And of course, then there's an actual man on that cable with a giant camera pointing down and hopefully he doesn't hit a tree on the other end. But that shot was like, oh my gosh, that whole movie was amazing for me. So that's mine. What's your guys'?
I would say mine is one specific video part. Actually, more web edits, but if we're talking about like a part of a movie, it was Aaron Gwyn's segment from like 3-minute gaps or whatever the title. For some reason, it was like edited to like this like you kind of like weird like African sounding music, and like the whole thing, like since he was the first American to kind of like break the bad luck streak with downhill, like it meant a lot to me as an American racer.
Cool.
Yeah, that was huge. And he did that huge send.
That step down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
I asked 3 minutes, that's 2011.
Oh, okay.
He was still on a Yeti in that video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, he just got his first top 10 that year? Was that, or was that sooner?
I think 2011 is when he I think he got third at like Bromont or something.
Yeah, he was. Oh, maybe that was his first podium that year.
Yeah,
I think it was.
No, his first race he was 10th.
Yeah, wasn't that Mount St. Anne?
Yeah, Mount St. Anne's first race he was 10th. Yeah, and then next year he started getting podiums.
Yeah,
which is insane. Like, have you ever seen the? I might go and find. Hold on, I've just remembered something else. There's somewhere is the first ever picture of Aaron Gwyn on a mountain bike, and Sven Martin took it. First photo on. Sorry, this is great content, everyone. Great.
No, that's fine. I asked a couple of the
guys.
I asked the guys in the chat what their favorite moments were, and Jamcam said Connor McFarlane's case in Red Bull Rampage 2017.
Oh my god, I don't think that's a favorite moment.
No,
I'd say that was one of the worst moments.
Yeah. Let's see.
Crazy.
Mountain Bike Geek said Aaron Gwyn's chainless win, which was pretty nuts.
Hey,
sure.
Ryan, I'm sorry. I'm interjecting again. I was actually there in the
really?
corral for that race. Yeah.
Shoot.
So I can give you a little insight of how it was. So they had a German commentator. So no one, and you couldn't hear any other commentary, and there was like there was a big screen, but it's very far away, and it was super pixelated, so you couldn't actually see or know what was going on if you were there.
Yeah.
And he like came out the gate, and he kind of cased the first jump.
Yeah.
And like I was stood next to Kuskus, the UR team manager, and I was like, "That's weird." Like he just cased that, and he's like, "Oh, something must be wrong." And then he comes down, and obviously like the times are like so close, and everyone's like, "Oh, crazy, this is nuts." And then just before Connor Fearon was in the hot seat, and then I think Gwyn was like, he wasn't off by much, but he was off, and Bernard Kerr was like edging further and further into the finish corral to go and mob Connor because like it looked like he was going to win. And then Gwyn comes over the line. It was like, what was it? It was like 0.016 or something like insane like that. And Bernard just went, huh! Oh no. Went back. And then everyone was just like, oh, crazy. Yeah, like that's nuts. Like, well done, Aaron. And then he picks up his bike and he drops his bike and everyone looks at it and someone just yells, there's no chain. And like all the photographers then just went absolutely crazy. And I was walking back and Dave Trumpor was there, Phil, and I was like, hey, there's no chain on Gwyn's bike. And his face just changed from like, and just ran. Media squids have never moved faster in their life than after that moment. But yeah, that was crazy because no one knew it was happening if you were there. It's, yeah, nuts. Sorry, hijack the conversation.
No, that's great.
Here's a question that you just brought up because I know Connor Farron runs flat pedals. When's the last time someone on flat pedals won a downhill World Cup?
Sam Hill. Oh no! Wait, hold it.
Rat Boy.
No,
but I think he was clipped in that year.
Yeah.
I
would. It's probably Sam Hill, 2014 Maribel. I would say. Because there are two riders went on flat pedals that year.
Well, because
Connor's
flat pedals.
No, but he hasn't won. But two riders won World Cups that year in 2014. One was Sam Hill. Yeah. And the other was G. Atherton at Cairns.
Oh, with his borrowed shoes. Right.
Yeah. So this a great story. Okay, so Cairns, 2014. It was a washout. It was like the muddiest race ever. It'd been raining, but when it stops raining on a downhill course, it actually gets worse because the mud isn't being washed away. So then it just gets all gloopy.
Yeah.
And everyone had obviously flown from the other side of the planet, and no one thought to bring, flat pedals or whatever. So G panicked together, so got some flat pedals, and he was just wearing some random shoes or whatever. And then a guy at the side of the track, he looks down and he's like, you look about my size. Will you swap shoes with me on your 510s? And the guy did. And then G went on to win on 510s from his non-sponsor. And then 510 were like, whoever swapped the shoes, like, tell us who you are and we'll send you like a few pairs of brand new ones. And they did. They found out who the guy was.
Well, that's good.
That's a sick story.
That's a good move on 510's part. That's awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. Man, 2014, hey? That was a good year.
That was a great year. Yeah. What else have we got in the chat? Parker Gibbons, Emil Johnson. Emil Johansson triple truck to downwhip at Innsbruck. He did that? No way.
It's heavy.
A triple truck to downwhip. That's insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's an up and comer for sure. He's up and done. He won the FMB, didn't he, last year? Yeah, Chase McMillan, Where the Trail Ends movie, 2013. That is a very good story. I think Scott, do you know if Darren's going to do another movie kind of like that sort of feeling?
Well, they're doing North of Nightfall, which comes out this summer, and that's same idea. They're just expanding that to it's like one trip but more time rather than more trips and less time. Yeah. They spent a month on it, so it should be cool.
The trailer is like goosebump kind of thing. Like, it's so good. I love that trailer. I was fine with that. Like, if that was the whole film, I'm like, that's good. Well done, guys.
Hey, Alex, we're answering our favorite moments of mountain bike history.
Oh, Alex Chamberlain, welcome. Hello.
I know. He Alex has ridden Psychosis. I think he did that last year or so.
Yeah, if it was part of the series,
cool.
BC.
Well, Alex, tell us how it was. Yeah, the Trans BC. Yeah. Did he drop in? Because as we were saying earlier, some riders went round because it was probably going to be way safer. But yeah, Eric, no front brakes. See you in there. You said that in your senior year of high school, I watched Sprung 2 until the tape broke in my VCR. That is an excellent segue into my favourite movie, the movie that changed mine, and that would be Earthed 3, specifically. So Alex Rankin, legendary filmer. He still does a little bit. I think he does some stuff with Fabric. He's done some stuff with Rat Boy recently. He did a series of movies, Sprung, and then he did Earthed. And Earth 3, that was the first movie I actually bought because a friend of mine was in it. He was like, his name was Andrew Reynolds, and there was I don't know if you've seen it. There was a
Not,
section.
not the pro skater.
No, I was like,
No,
what?
not
What? Huh.
No, not the pro skater. He I think he did actually used to have to answer that question a couple of times. Like, are you the pro skater? And he's like, no.
Yes.
But there was a charge bikes when they were cool when they first started before they became the Fixie brand. They made Nick Larson made like a dirt pool setup in this secret field in Radstock, which is actually near where I grew up. This super small town in the UK. And yeah, Ren was in it, and he had some amazing tabletops. And he was a BMXer. He was a BMXer, but obviously he just picked up a mountain bike, and he was amazing immediately. So he would do mountain bikes for money, like that was his like saying. But I bought it because he was in that movie. But I watched that thing so many times, and I went and did the Mega Avalanche because of that movie. Yeah, it was that was a huge influence.
How was that? Was it crazy riding with like 1 million people in the snow?
So I got taken out in the qualifier.
Classic.
I managed to get like a front row placing, which is rule number 1. Oh, I've just remembered another story. Hold on, we'll get to it in a sec. So I was at the front of the row. Like first of all, you qualify with 200 people. And then if you get in the top 30 of that, you make it to the main show, which is then like on the snow and stuff, which is 400 people at a time. So I was on the front row, and I was like, I just wanted to get into the B race so I could still do the mass start, but just not the main show because it's super hard to get into it. And I was going down, and I looked down, and some guy, like, there's my left hand, and all of a sudden I saw this right hand right here from another guy, and I looked to my left, and he was like staring back at me, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Sorry, Jordan, who has to edit out the swear words. But yeah, oh god, and I went so over the bars and just nailed myself, and then 100 people went past me like straight away, so it was all over. But I was going down, and then I heard this like French screaming at me behind me. So I pulled over, and it was Loic Bruni, and he had been in the round before and had a crash, and he had no mech, he had no saddle. He went past or whatever. But by the time we got to the finish line, I'd caught back up to him. My crowning glory is that I actually sprinted past Loic Bruni on the race. Wasn't literally, I did as hard as I could, went round and got the timing stamp just before him. So that was when I beat a world champion. No biggie, but yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
let's have
Well, Twitchy Nick says, as a new rider last 2 years, I'm finding all these stories very cool, and I'll be Googling a lot to find out more and check out some of these videos. Definitely do that. And because that was the same thing with me, I feel like I'm missing these chunks of time. And there's so much that happened that are not only just cool in and of themselves, but like actually created different things with bikes and parts, and like the way we do things now with racing, and like it all the dots connect if you go back and search for this stuff. So it's definitely worth it.
So I have another little thing from history. So we all know Aaron Gwynn had his amazing chainless run. Does anyone remember who else has an amazing chainless run?
Nico,
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
I feel so bad for him because it was like Nico, and it was so awesome, and like they were doing specific videos about it, like and all that, and all of a sudden Gwyn wins a race. Everyone's like, oh.
yeah.
The funny thing though is like
the ultimate one-upping.
Yeah.
So he's been involved with Windrock Bike Park, which you guys may have seen if you've. I've done one video from there, and Seth has a video on it. He's like been a big proponent of that place. Helped like build that place up. But that place gets so muddy during the winter, so a lot of times they will be doing shuttle runs, and everyone there just straight up takes their drivetrain off. Because it just gets so caked up.
Yeah,
so like during the winter, they're doing a lot of chainless runs.
Oh,
That's cool.
right. And you reckon that he might have actually had a bit of like...
Well, no, that's recent. That's now. That's...
Oh, okay. I thought it might have been like trail before and then turned into a bike park.
No.
But yeah. That started a huge chainless craze. I think the year after that, some guy in the IXS Cup, I went to like the round in Schlabming. Some guy he was really well known because he had this huge beard that like came all the way down to here. He took off his drivetrain, like he like it sold. He took off the cassette, took off shifter, everything, and from then on, it was just like, I'm obviously going to win every single race now, but he never did. He just did the same as he did before.
I saw something interesting happen, or as a result. Do you guys know the KHS team with Logan Bingeli?
Yeah.
They started racing with only one gear.
Oh, they're going single speed.
Yeah.
Weird.
Like, so they just had this very awkward gear out of it, like, that wasn't good for anything.
Yeah, it's like, because you still have the problem, wouldn't you, of like chain tension,
Yeah.
but you just wouldn't have any gears. Is that?
Yeah.
Would that?
Solving nothing, basically, other than like 200 grams.
But
Yeah.
the KHS team was actually pretty interesting. I think they were one of the first teams to really adopt 650B downhill bikes.
Hold on. I have another fact. Did you know that Logan Bingeli was the first person to get a Rampage podium on 650B wheels?
Fun fact.
No, I did not.
It was the year that Scott, you must be on this. What year did Bizet get second? When he was like, he did like a million. It was Sorgi. When Sorgi won, I think Sorgi came first, and then Antoine Bizet came second.
Wasn't that just last year?
No. This was like,
I want to say 2013, but I might be wrong.
I think it might. It's about that. It's about
Yeah,
there.
a few
And
years
then
ago.
Bingeli finished. He finished third, and he did it on 27.5 wheels, and no one knew. No one noticed. Yeah, and I think he did a 20. He was in it again this year, wasn't he? He brought a 29er, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he annoyed a couple of people, like at the Rampage site, so he might not get a lot of coverage out of the event. But yeah. What should we do? Let's do a final round of questions. Well, a final round from the chat here, and see what we've got.
There's one guy, Rushin. He said his favorite film, it's pretty recent, Biggest Slice of British Pie, which is great. I actually just watched that yesterday.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
It's really good. And like the entire movie from start to finish, I realized that my cheeks were hurting a little bit. I'm like, what's happening? It's because I had this big grin on my face from start to finish. The whole thing was just so awesome.
It's cool. They brought the like punk rock and like, you know, BMX vibe back to mountain biking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think I did watch that the other day. My two favorite sections were the one with Manon Carpenter.
Oh yeah, she was ripping. It was so good. Yeah.
She was shredding, and I think it's like Leo Sandler and Veronique Sandler. That was an amazing section. That's in Wales, probably somewhere. And then like straight afterwards, you've got like the FMD section with Chaos Seagrave and Tani, and that Cade Edwards kid. Like, I knew he was gnarly, but, like, everyone should go and watch that movie just for that section, because he's insane. Like, he's a big BMXer as well. And apparently he's just, when he's doing a race run, he's just like, oh, when can I do a tie grab down this run? I think he did it off the Lenza Hyder step down. Like, he had a crash, so his run was over. Yeah. So he did a tie grab off that massive step down, which is insane.
Oh, that's right. One of our YouTube buddies, Ben Cathro from Cathro Vision, was in that one of the biggest slice of British pies.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, was he in the first one as well? Like that was an amazing segment. The Scottish, like they're just going around the ruts, and it's just like so. I can't even imagine. I've ridden there. I've ridden Fort William and those trails, like where all the dudes of Hazards and Joe Barnes ride. And like you understand how they're so good because it's impossible like to ride all that stuff. It's not fun. Like you keep hearing, you think like, oh, the riding must be amazing over here. No. And then I just rode down, and you just get stopped because it's slop and like it's just this one rut like the whole way down.
That's pretty much all of those movies though. It's all just railing ruts. That's like the whole film, but it's awesome at the same time.
Yeah, it was real good. So I think. It's been
hold on. So someone brought up Cade. Can we talk about how amazing Cade is as a rider?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
He's
insane.
First downhill rider that I've seen doing 360 tail whips on a bike.
I haven't
just
seen that.
He does
Wow.
3-whips?
Yeah, on his BMX bike.
Crazy.
Like he rips a park.
Yeah, that's like in the biggest slice. There's a little skate park section, isn't there? And
Yeah.
he steals the show again. Yeah,
I didn't even realize that was him. That's pretty cool.
yeah, he's on the Afton racing team. I think
Yeah.
this is his last year of juniors, so he'll have to move up to elite. But yeah, hey, has anyone done their pink bike fantasy downhill team before we wrap this up?
I have not.
I have.
Oh, what? Secco, you have. Who's in
Oh,
this
yeah.
team?
Top secret.
Top secret. Yeah. I've actually uploaded a fake team to
Smart.
screw with everyone. Because 3 days before the race, they're going to do a complete blackout, and so you can't see anyone else's team. So when that
Interesting.
happens, I'll put up my real team. So I've just got a decoy team in there at the minute.
That's funny.
Just to mess with everyone. So
Yes.
cool. Right. Well, that's been about an hour, so we'll wrap this thing up. I do have a little outro which I can no longer find. So thank you very much for those. This has been great fun. So I just want to thank Skills with Phil Kometz, Ryan. I know your last name, but you're the Lone Ranger, so I kind of want to keep you like that. Just
Ryan
like
Ranger.
Ryan Ranger. Yes, that's
It's
the
not.
last name.
It's actually Kelly. So my name is actually R. Kelly. I'm an R.
Oh my god! Of course it is. That's amazing. Thank you, R. Kelly, for coming on. It's great to have you. Didn't know you were into mountain biking so much. So that's awesome. And Scott Secco, legend. I can't wait to see Dream Ride 3. It's going to be amazing. So thanks for watching, everyone, and see you on the next Off Camber.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
Bye.
See ya.